So let's do the astrology. I just want to talk about the general energies right now. For the new moon, we're in the lunar month. We're in the middle of the lunar month. So we're at the full moon on August 1st, this coming Tuesday, in 2 days from this recording. And so we're 2 weeks into the lunar month. The lunar month began on July 17th with the new moon. The new moon is the beginning time. The full moon is the time of ripening, harvesting, completion. That's the general energy of the moon. At the new moon for the month, which flavors the energy for the whole month, including the full moon part of the month, the sun was opposing Pluto. As I mentioned, the sun was in Cancer, opposing Pluto in Capricorn. There was a yod to Pluto in San Francisco. I'm not talking about that yet, but eventually I will be talking about San Francisco astrology because I think it's a good representation of a certain sort of aspect of the polarized states of being we all currently find ourselves in, but I'm not going to do that yet. So the sun was opposing Pluto. Now, why is this incredibly intense? Because this Pluto is in Capricorn, right? The sign of our systems, the sign of the systems of government, of finance, we could even say the administration of health, although that shows other places in the chart as well. But the powers that be, right? Essentially. And so Pluto has been going back and forth. This is a second foray into Capricorn. And it will come out of Capricorn on January 20th, 2024. And then during 2024, at some point it's going to go back in to Capricorn one last time, the third time, and then come out sometime in 2025. And then that's it. The age of Aquarius, full start, full go. Now, Pluto was at 29. And at 29, I've been talking with my teacher, Andrea, about this. 29 is the fullness of the energy of the sign, but it also has karmic elements, the anaretic degree of the sign. If there is anything remaining, any issues, any stickiness, right, that's going to come up at 29 degrees. So that's this month. That is what's flavoring this month with Pluto. Opposing the sun and the sun and the moon at the new moon. And so the good isn't really what's showing. It's the bad and the ugly. I'd encourage you to look for the gratitude in these things in your life where there is the good related to the bigger systems, because it always can be found. And it's important to put as much energy into what appears to be divinely aligned that will continue, right? As we see things crumble, right, from big systems related to big systems around us. And you see, you've got the big systems opposing the sun in Cancer, the sign of the home, the sign of the home. That's where we all live, right? We live in our homes, and the human home is ruled by the moon, the emotions, the feminine, but also the greater mind, the primal nature. So moving on to the full moon, we want to look at what shifted. What shifted is that the sun is still opposing Pluto. Okay, so this is a big theme for this lunar month. And I believe that this is why we're seeing so much red on the chart, and the red wave, even when that was so incredible when Pluto and the sun were exact at 29 and exact with the nodes. I mean, that was incredible, but I made a whole video on it, so I won't go into it now. But watch that video if you haven't seen it, please, because it's so cool. The sun is at 9 degrees of Leo, and it's opposing Pluto. So we started the big theme of the month with the sun, the soul, in Cancer, right? in opposition to Pluto, Pluto, the lord of the underworld. Yet the sun is in the shadow of Pluto, kind of in the underworld of the underworld, right? It's like the world was flipped upside down, right? The sun's supposed to be at the top of the chart. So rather than at the bottom. In the full moon period, what happens is this focus of the soul opposing Pluto, the sun opposing Pluto, shifts to Leo and it becomes very personal, right? We get to look at what does this mean for my life, right? Where's the darkness that needs to be elevated? Where's my soul stuck on stuff? And the sun is exact conjunct next to Varuna at the full moon. Varuna is the asteroid of divine justice. It represents the Hindu god of justice, the god of the sea. So it invokes themes of Cancer, right? The water from the Cancer is a water sign from the new moon. It invokes themes of the spiritual Pisces and Neptune, um, which was in relation trine the new moon for the month, but now really wide trine. So not really so meaningful here for the full moon. But Varuna binds sinners. Varuna is a god of justice. What does binds sinners mean? It means that Varuna essentially does what in the Bible it's called binding, right? The demonic energy is bound and taken by God, right? I always ask that it be taken to its place of highest good. So God, we give it to God, right? That's a way of explaining what give it to God means. And so in this full moon, we are wanting to see some justice done. Okay. And we're wanting to see it at the individual level. And we might be wanting to see justice occur to specific individuals. And guess what? We're emotional about it because the sun, of course, is opposing the moon, right? That's a full moon. Um, so the asteroid Metis is at 7 degrees, so it's also in sextile with the sun. Metis is the wise counselor, and she is in the shadow position to the sun, so we can reach back into our history with intention, okay, and gather wisdom from our past, not in a way that judges our past, judges ourselves, judges our actions, in a way that lifts the wisdom from what we have been through and brings understanding. And this truly benefits us in these energies. Metis is it's trine the moon, but it's in a wider trine. But that gives us fortune. It's about 3 degrees away, but it's applying. So it gives us some fortune there, right? With bringing wisdom to the process of mind and emotions. The moon is in Aquarius, so our emotions are focused and our group mind is focused on, what's going on with the whole. Hygeia happens to also be in Aquarius. It is not conjunct the moon. It's at 19 degrees and the moon's at 10. And Hygeia is retrograde. But the presence of Hygeia in the same sign of the moon would indicate that some of what we are emotional about, some of what we are focused on as we look at group consciousness is our health, our well-being. How are we living? What is not good about what we are living, or what's going on in our home, or what is going on in the homes in general of our society, you know? And that could be people's actual health status. It could be the status of families and how they are doing. Um, and it could be the status of women. because Cancer it's very feminine. The moon, it's a feminine energy and sign. Now it's really interesting because, the sun in Leo, right? Let me tell you what else is in Leo. What's in Leo is Lilith and, and Venus. And Venus it went retrograde, right, after the new moon, but, she's moving towards Lilith. And she's actually going to go I think she's gonna go all the way to 14 degrees over the next weeks as she retrogrades. So she's going to backtrack over this entire territory that she's been in recent weeks. So there will be a repetition and a review of themes of very close recent weeks, okay? So in the past few weeks that you've just been through, there will be a review process there, bringing light to what is truly important. What do I get out of it? And what decisions, right? What decisions should I make here? Um, the sun, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's quincunx Saturn, and it's a challenging quincunx. So it's um, our decision making. It doesn't feel good here. The quincunx is a spiritual challenge, but with one aspect, the sun moving direct and Saturn moving retrograde, while it gives us a good chance to review, you know, what's my spiritual approach? Is it working for me? Do I have a relationship with God? How do I, enhance that? What do I believe? What's going on for me? Am I in delusion? Right? Am I even on the right path? Am I so loaded down by, the darkness or the challenges of experience, I haven't even got my head above water? That needs to end. That needs to stop. That needs to, you know, we you anyone going through that needs to figure out how to bring their head above water. It's really important here. It's really important, especially as Neptune is moving into the later degrees of Pisces with Saturn in Pisces. Saturn's not going to move direct until February of 2024, early in February. So it might be January, but I think it's February. Anyway, till next year. So um, here's where what can help you with getting your head above water in terms of not just making decisions, but your spiritual state of being in your relationship with God is to go with the flow of divinity in your life, where God's guiding you, because the more you fight it in these energies, really the tougher it is. Venus is quincunx Neptune at the same time. You know, another very challenging, well, it's actually not as challenging as the sun and Saturn because Venus is also retrograde. So getting your head above water here is something that this is something that you might be able to do if you place value on creating that deeper relationship between you and your own soul, between you and God, between, you and the living flame of divinity that you are. What I would say is as Venus moves and the sun move toward each other here, um, that, if it was me, I would be asking for, as Venus and the sun move towards conjunction, I would pray for clarity as the soul, is about to commune with that beautiful goddess, right? Of what is truly valuable and that goddess of love. What do you love, right? And are you putting your love in the right places? Is what you are spending your time on what is truly valuable in your life? Is it going to produce the outcomes that you truly desire? Ooh, wow. Gosh, there's another quincunx. Mars and the moon are in quincunx. Whew, this is a spiritually challenging full moon period. But Mars and the Moon are also moving in the same direction. They're both moving direct, so that's the good news there. Um, and Mars is backed up by Pallas Athena here. Pallas is 10 plus degrees and Mars at 13 plus. So the 3 degrees. Mars recently moved over her. So he still has her beautiful flavor, wisdom, and knowledge. Pallas Athena, she supports the heroic within us and the heroic within men and the heroic within the seeker. And she gives the tools, right, to achieve the full journey, right? So, oh, that's exciting. It's exciting, really, and Mars is in the semi-sextile shadow of Ceres, the great mother. Ceres is in Libra. Ceres, the mother, wants justice here. She wants justice. She wants balance. She's a little tired of how things are. And I've talked about that in other videos. But Ceres is quincunx Jupiter. They're both moving in the same direction, but they're quincunx within a degree. It's very close. And she really wants justice. Jupiter is trine Mars. Okay, so there's a lot of primal energy here around that. Uh, and, Chiron, the wounded healer, is at 19 in the shadow of Uranus. And Jupiter is going to be moving towards Uranus. So more on that in coming weeks. But these are big energies, and it would be good to prepare yourself energetically and spiritually so that you're in a good position, you know? I mean, this is the time, right? To to pray for answers to those big questions. What's truly important? What do I spend my time on? Because you have the energy for it here, under certain conditions, right? The spiritual quest is highlighted in many aspects.